Welcome everybody! Today I'm going to actually do something a bit different. I'm going to do a game review on the early access game RWBY Grimm Eclipse. This game so far you can actually play only as the four main girls of Team RWBY: Ruby, Weiss, Blake, and Yang. Whenever I actually go through the character select screen, it looks like there could be a possibility that there will be more characters, perhaps Team Juniper, or even Team Coffee. Well, so far they only have 4 levels, but hey, that's nice to have. And let's see, this game I will definitely say is worth the early access. The characters move quite a bit better than what they do in the actual show, which is kind of funny if you think about it, but they did quite a bit of work this time. Their abilities are a lot more controlled per character. You can actually see how they move, especially if you want to watch the difference between the actual show and this game. But in the end, it's actually all in all pretty cool. There's a way where you can actually play with the controller in this game, but it's very laggy and delayed, and that's really not fun if you're not the type to be used to playing with the keyboard and mouse, which would be using the WASD function with the main number keys. And there are some times where whenever you play with the number keys, you end up causing the game to freak out. The game will be very, very, very delayed whenever you press it, or if you end up needing to attack something or dodge, you have to press it multiple times in order for it to work, or you just have to not press anything, then press the button in order for you to actually do the action you want and all of that fun stuff. Each of the characters, they're pretty fun to actually look at, but my only complaint with this is that when you look at Weiss, she glows, she blends in with the surroundings, and it's really not pleasant. Especially when you're trying to go, oh, Weiss, how about we go over, oh god, there's sunlight in my face, what am I going to do? And it's really, really not that fun. And if you end up wanting characters to move more, you end up having to use the space shift function, where you jump and then you dash or dodge in the air. But that's only if you need them to run really fast, rather than just pressing and holding the shift button. Don't forget, sticky keys are still a thing. The last time I actually played it with a controller, I removed it because of how laggy it was, and it caused my computer to completely lock up, freeze, to the point that I couldn't even open my task manager, and I had to completely force restart it twice in a row, since after I restarted it the first time, it was freaking out, going, what just happened? I'm not going to work. Second time, it actually doing stuff. And if you end up needing to try and dodge or anything with the controller, be warned, it is very sticky and it doesn't exactly want to do what you want it to. Since the keys are heavily based off the MMO games, that, like Perfect World, I would kind of say World of Warcraft, Here's a Storm, that type of stuff. But Here's a Storm doesn't use the WASD function. But with this game, like I said, you can use the main keys, with the main number keys being 1, 2, and 3, and then you use the left mouse button to do your main attack and right mouse button to do your guns. And sometimes those are very laggy too, because you can just spam the main attack button on your mouse, that'll work, but you have to actually be able to stop what you're doing and then press the right mouse button in order for you to be able to have the fun of shooting your enemies without any issues. And there are some differences between each of the characters, where Blake, she doesn't really move that much whenever you use the gun. Weiss, she is very slow whenever she uses the ice ball things. I don't even know what to really call them. I just call them like ice bullets maybe. She uses those and it doesn't really do too much. And whenever you do this, especially with Ruby and Yang, you'll be able to notice that they can go back and travel better distances with that rather than sprinting or jumping or anything. And there are actually artifacts in this game, and they help give 100 experience to each member that is on the team. A plus with this game is that if you're with somebody, it actually changes the difficulty depending on how many people are in the game. You can only have up to 4 people, as in like Team Ruby, Team Juniper, like all that stuff. And whenever you can do it, you can also like easily do solo, but there are some characters that are easier than others. And while you're able to play with other characters, it's easier to wait to have friends, especially on the other later levels, whenever you have to go against the Ursa, which are the big, huge, giant bears that we often refer to as Tibbers for those League of Legends fans. If your game is actually lagging or locking, kind of like what some people had, especially some of my friends, I would probably recommend changing so the game is in windowed mode rather than full screen. And the more people that are in the game, the more it's possible that it could lag, especially because of the amount of like Grimm that decide to go, hey, let's attack this one person, or oh, let's attack the whole group. And we learned that, well, we being my friends and I, learned that in order to actually be able to do certain things, you'd have to either be separated from each other or be together in the whole group, which isn't exactly fun when you have to figure out which one's which. And the amount of Grimm can really affect your frame rate. It's not fun at all. And one of the funny things with this game too is that if you really, really, really want to just be Ruby and somebody else is Ruby, well, congratulations, you can be her. If everybody wants to be Yang, you can be Yang. That's probably the ironic thing, is that everybody can test the character at the same time, figure out if they really like them before switching. And as long as you have one person still in the main game, whenever you exit, you can change characters, hop back in, and still keep the same amount of experience that you had kept prior to being in the game itself. And it really helps whenever you need to level up and all that. And each character has 3 separate abilities, and then they have 2 specials that they can get depending on if they beat the 4 levels, if they get to level 10, or what. And one of the special things that every member can get is Medic, where you can easily just run up to the person, bring them back to life within seconds, and then just go back to fighting Grimm. But be warned, the Grimm love chasing, especially if you are in their line of sight. And you have the Ursa, and I forget what the other ones were, but they look kind of like little like boars that just roll into a ball and then just like ram into you. And those 2 are pretty much one hit, you're almost dead, and it's not fun. I would definitely recommend playing this game, and since it's in early access, it still has some bugs and issues, which Roosterteeth is actually wanting to work with members for and work with everybody else who's actually gotten the game. And keep in mind, this is only based on 7 hours of gameplay, and this is with friends and by myself as well. So far, it's worth that $15 that it is in Steam store right now. And if you ever just want to find games to play that are relatively cheap, go ahead and buy a RWBY, because you never know whenever it's going to go up in price. And so far, I'd probably give it 8.7 out of 10. Guess that could be a pretty decent grade, right? Until next time, I will eventually find a game. But until then, bye.